Let's look now at, first of all, at calculating the areas of triangles. Now, I've actually drawn a rectangle here very deliberately, and we know that the area of a rectangle's length times width, in this case that would be 6 times 4 equals 24 square metres. Now, it can be shown that any rectangle can actually be split in half to form two equal triangles. Okay, so we know that the area of this triangle is going to be half of that. Okay, so we already know the answer. Okay, how do we actually show that as far as a calculation goes? Well, let's look at changing. If we just focus on this as a triangle, then instead of calling this the width of the rectangle, it's actually the height of the triangle. And instead of this being the length of the rectangle, it's the base of the triangle, so that we know the area equals the base times height, which are exactly the same as the width and length of the rectangle, but we have to divide by 2. Okay, and so that gives us our formula. A equals B times H divided by 2. It's also written as sometimes as a half B times H, which is exactly the same thing. Okay, dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by half. So in the case above, okay, the base is 6, the height is 4, divided by 2, we get 12 metres squared, which is what we expect. Okay, so the trick is just always identify the base and the height and then substitute them into that formula. Okay, now we look at composite shapes, and we find here that we have an odd looking shape, but it becomes very simple if we find a way of actually splitting it in two, like we were doing the other day with the rectangular composite shapes. And this time we now have a triangle and a rectangle. Okay, so there's the triangle, there's the rectangle there. Okay, we know that the base of the triangle is 9. Now, we don't have a height, okay, but we can figure out that if this is 6 up to here, then this must be 12 minus 6, so it must also be 6. Okay, so sometimes you're going to have to work out some of those figures, and I know some of you find that a bit tricky, but keep persevering with it. Now, the rectangle here we know is 6. That's 6 there, and 9. Okay, so now each of these can be worked out applying the formula. So this is B times H divided by 2, so this will be 9 times 6 divided by 2. That equals 27. What is it? Centimetres squared. This one is just the length times the width, so it's 9 times 6. Oops, equals 54 centimetres squared. We add those two together, 27 plus 54, and we get 81 centimetres squared there. Okay, let's look now at shaded areas. Now here, oops, I haven't shaded in the diagram. Well, actually, this is what I made up myself because there aren't many in the sheet. You're supposed to find the area there in the red. Okay, now really what we do have here again is two shapes. We have a large rectangle, which is 10 by 6, and we have a smaller one, which is 5 by 3. So we can calculate the area of both. This one will be 10 times 6 equals 60. This one will be 5 times 3 equals 15. Okay. Now, what some people have trouble seeing is that this shaded area is just the area of the large rectangle minus this area here. So we just have to subtract this area here. So we know that that's going to be 60 minus 15 equals 45 metres squared. Okay, hopefully now you can go on with the second part, or part B, of the worksheet you've been working on. Okay, thank you.